Thank you, everybody. This is a re-recording of the Facebook Live that happened earlier today on Homeschool Holistic Health Remedies. The sound quality was not strong on the live, so I'm using YouTube to get this information and message across. I think it's very important because your health is everything. And these are lessons that my dad passed on to me. As I mentioned, he was a nutritionist and had a health food store on Gun Hill Road in the Bronx, New York. And growing up, he taught me a lot about natural remedies. And I've come to truly value that information because sometimes if this is all you know, this is all you do. We all have freedom of choice, and I could choose to live off fast food every day, every week, every year, or I could choose to live off healthier foods every day, every week, every year. Why can I make that choice? Because my dad gave me options. He told me that yes, you could do this, but you can also do that. In a different video, wintertime phys ed tips, another YouTube video I uploaded, I mentioned that my doctor said I was officially overweight, just over the borderline, but overweight nonetheless. And because of the upbringing and training and the library of books my dad left for us, I learned that walking was a wonderful, beneficial exercise. So my doctor said, see him a month later. And during that month, I walked. I didn't work out. I walked to the library. I walked to the grocery store. I walked to run my errands, just regular everyday life. But instead of hopping in the car, I put on my shoes, grabbed the kids, and we walked everywhere. And most of the time, they complained, we don't want to go out. And it's wintertime and cold where we are. But once they got out, they would start running and chasing each other and playing, and whether they wanted to be out there or not, they got deep breathing in, they got to exercise their muscles. And at the end of the day, at the end of that month, I actually went back to my doctor and I was back within my normal weight. I had lost 2 pounds, again, just from walking. I made no other change in my lifestyle other than walking. So these are tips that I feel are literally life-saving, at least for my family. Let me pause to make a couple of disclaimers. One, I am not a doctor. I am not a health care professional. I am simply here to share information that was passed on to me, that I'm passing on to my kids. And if anyone else can find it useful, I encourage you to do your own research. Google, read, test things out. The part of the beauty of natural remedies is, well, I'll just leave it at that. So absolutely check with your own physician before embarking on any type of physical or health regimen. That's one disclaimer. The other disclaimer is, because I am an attorney, I want to make clear, please do not take this program as legal advice. You can see it as attorney advertising, because I'm here to share general information for educational purposes only. The results that I get with my family might be different from what you get with yours, which may differ from what another family gets. Every person is unique, every child is unique, every family is unique. So what we're doing here is just sharing information. Absolutely do your own research. If you would like to speak one-on-one regarding the homeschool or other legal type matters, absolutely contact me on my website, nkechitlaw.com. That's NKECHILAW.com. Drop me a comment and I will respond, and we can speak a little bit more and work together more one-on-one. Okay, disclaimers aside, let's get right into it. Homeschool Holistic Health Remedies. I have 3 that I will share with you, and then time permitting, we'll add a little more information on top. But one of the first things that we keep in my family, there's always a pot on the stove of ginger turmeric tea. Ginger and turmeric tea. You all are pretty familiar with what ginger looks like. This is what the turmeric root looks like. This is one. And if you break it open, it's a nice bright orange color. And turmeric is supposed to be a super food. So what I do is I'll slice up the ginger depending on the size pot that you have. We have a family of 5, so we slice up the ginger, slice up the turmeric, bring the water to a rolling boil, and then just push the ginger and turmeric into the pot. You can add a little lemon if you wish for an extra shot of vitamin C. And then I put a little honey in the pot and dissolve and sweeten to taste. And the result is a beautiful golden colored tea. It's delicious. Again, you sweeten to taste. My husband would probably drink it just like that. For me, I'd probably put a little more honey in my individual mug. But it is wonderful, and that's something that we drink on a regular basis, especially during the flu season, the winter months. And I don't know if I can attribute it to that, but my kids, my family, we've been pretty healthy during these seasons. Another thing you can do is, even in the summertime, ice it, chill it, and you have ginger turmeric iced tea. The only difference is I would add all of my sweetener while it's still hot. I'd sweeten it to taste and then pop it in the fridge and enjoy it chilled. The children actually love it. And this serves as a replacement to the hot chocolate type drinks that they were drinking quite a bit of until we found this better alternative. The second holistic remedy that we use is kind of a variation on the ginger turmeric tea. We call it golden honey. And in powdered form, we'd take some ginger. This is what we had before. It's a ginger tea. Sorry for the light quality. But it's a ginger honey tea. And it's in powder form. So I'd pour a little into the spoon. We also have, we later on got some powdered ginger just from the local African market where we are. Into that, I would add some powdered turmeric. And I'd use the edge of a knife and just scoop a little of the turmeric out, add it to the powdered ginger. And then cayenne pepper. This is, again, we have a Nigerian, as Nigerians, we always have some type of red hot pepper in the house. And again, just using the edge of the knife, scoop a little of the cayenne in, dump it in. And on top of that, we would just pour a little of the honey. Just pour a little honey in to fill up the spoon. Take a toothpick and just stir it up until all the powders and the honey are mixed together, and it turns this beautiful golden color, and that's why we call it golden honey. And then I would give it to the kids, and I have 3 kids, so I'd put 1, 2, 3 spoons, powder, 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 honey, 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 stir, 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 bring it up on the tray, and in their rooms, I just, here, take your golden honey, and they enjoyed it. At first, you know, the pepper at the back gave them a bit of a kick, but now they look forward to it. And that's what we do. We didn't use regular cough medicines. When they had congestion or runny nose or a cough, we'd bring out the golden honey, and in a few days it worked just fine. And I know with younger kids, you have to see whether your child is able to take honey or not. But again, this is just what we've done. Even till today, by God's grace, we don't get sick often. But if somebody were to come down with a cold, before we would run to an over-the-counter cough medicine, we're having some golden honey. The third home remedy we have is eucalyptus oil. This all might be backwards, but it's eucalyptus oil. This is empty because we do use this, but it's a clear essential oil. And what I used to suffer from, and my middle child suffered from too, was this chronic cough. If you ever came down with a cold, the cold would go away. We feel great, but there's this cough that lingers. And with my middle child, I think we also thought it could be like an allergy triggered asthma type thing, because it was just a dry cough. And we found that, in fact, he was also on a nebulizer. He had a prescription for a nebulizer, which I think worked a little bit in the beginning, but after that didn't work at all. The only thing that would knock that cough out of both of us was the eucalyptus oil combined with steam. So what we would do is boil up a pot of hot water, hot, boiling hot. Put a few drops of the eucalyptus oil in a nice sturdy bucket that can withstand the heat, and put a few drops, and you'd pour the steam in and inhale the steam. One modification I made is I would put the oil in. Don't put the hot water in yet. I'd set this in their room at a place where nobody's going to touch the hot water. I'd set it there first. Then I would carry the pot of hot water, not hot oil to the kids, hot water, and pour it into this bucket while it is still in the room. And immediately, once you pour it, you'll see it releases this great burst of steam. I wanted to capture that. So once I pour it in, I would hurry up and leave and pull their door closed so that the steam is now permeating the room. And I would keep it like that for the rest of the night, and 2-3 days, all of that congestion is gone. I like to see it as medicine for the insides of the body. Another thing my mom used to do with the bucket, another thing you can do is just create a little tent with a towel over your head. So you cover your head and the bucket, and you inhale the steam that way. Again, it's medicine for the insides, and it would get into your lungs and relieve the inflammation that's causing that dry cough. Wonderful, wonderful remedy. One thing I forgot to mention with the golden honey tea, this is about the size that I cut the ginger, and about the size that I cut the turmeric. And in each cup of tea, I always tell the kids, whenever you have the tea, have at least one, maybe 2-3 slices of each, and also chew that as well so that you get the full benefit. And turmeric tends to leave a yellow tinge on your tongue. It tends to stain anything that it touches, even a porcelain plate. You'll see that it will tend to stain, or your fingertips. I see that as a good thing, because the skin is an organ and it absorbs nutrients and other elements through it. The tongue is an organ as well. So after they chew up the turmeric, it will leave your tongue yellow, and I will tell them, don't brush that off. Allow the body to absorb that in its own time. And I can imagine that it's also leaving that yellow residue wherever it touches on the insides as well. And it's clinging to those parts. And with due time, it will do its work. Give nature a chance to do its work. So those are the 3 home remedies that we do just for maintenance and things like that. But I also teach my kids a part B that my dad taught me. He always said, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. God has wonderfully wrapped medicine up in the form of food that we can enjoy. And I always encourage my kids to include a fresh fruit or vegetable in any meal that they're having. Yesterday, we had the luxury of, I made breakfast, we all sat down, ate together, enjoyed, and then started the rest of our day. This morning, the kids had to fend for themselves because I had other things to do. So they got their food together, and I told them, make sure you have some fruit or veggie. And one of the things we have in our kitchen was carrots. And we all know that carrots are good for what part of the body? Our eyes. How do you know carrots are good for the eyes? You never see a carrot wearing glasses. Boom, boom. Okay, well, that joke didn't go over well on the Facebook Live either, but I blame it on the sound quality. I promise you, tell your kids that joke. They'll remember it. They may not laugh, but they will remember that carrots are good for the eyes. How do we know that? Well, a lot of times foods are, let me see if I have my cross section of a carrot. Foods are made in a way that resembles the part of the body that they help. So this was a carrot that we had. Let me see if I bring it really close. Oh, okay, maybe you can, yay! Do you see how the middle part of that kind of looks like the eye? Do you see that? In case it's not showing up that clearly, I printed out a picture. Here it goes. Do you see how the carrot looks like the eye? You have the center here, just like the center there. You even have those lines that are coming out of the center that match the lines that come out in the colored portion of our eyes. And then you have a little outer ring here that matches the little black outer ring here. And then the rest of the eyeball. And this is how we can teach our kids about healthy foods. As homeschooling parents, we don't have to have all the answers. I don't need to know that this is the pupil, this is the cornea, this is the whatever. Just let the kids know and then tell them to look it up. What are the parts of the eye? If you Google the parts of the eye, they can look it up and fill in that information. All we need to do as parents, a big part of what we need to do, is create an environment for learning. So you can literally just say, look, the carrot looks like the eye. And they could even go in and find out, well, what are the nutrients in the carrot, the beta carotene and all of that kind of thing. Just create an environment for learning. Another food that looks like what it's good for, and we keep these in the house, I have these in my oatmeal all the time, is walnuts. And if you take a look at it, it even has all the folds and the shape of our brain, the human brain. So this is the walnut, even in the shell, resembles the human brain. And then the walnut out of the shell has the 2 lobes that resemble the brain. And the walnut is very good for brain function. Another thing that looks like what it's good for, there we go, beets, beetroot. In a previous video I did on YouTube, Wintertime Physical Education Activities, I mentioned that my doctor said I was officially overweight based on my body mass index and gave me a month to come back. He also said that I was anemic, so I needed to get more iron in my blood, and beets was one of the things that I started eating more of. Again, it's a deep dark red, just like the blood. And I went back a month later and redid the blood work. I still have to get those results for the blood work. But what he did say was that I had lost 2 pounds and I was back within my normal weight. How did I do that? I did not work out. I wasn't doing jumping jacks or anything like that. All I did was I walked. Not a rigorous kind of cross-training kind of walk. I walked to the library. I walked to the supermarket. I walked to the post office. Any errand that we had to do. And I almost said I dragged the kids out because they were like, we don't want to go out. They always want to go out when they want to go out. When mommy says, okay, let's go walk, we don't want to go out. I brought them anyway. And as usual, they end up playing and running and having a good time. Well, I call it a good time. If it's not a good time for them, but you can hear them laughing at that. I'm blessed to have 3 kids that play with each other. Whether it was a good time or not, in their view, their lungs were expanded because they ran. I saw them running after each other. They got some outside air. They got a change of scenery, which can lift the mood. They got some physical activity in that day, and it helped me. So I was back within my weight. It's probably been another few weeks, and I know I haven't been out as much, but that's, again, how my dad gave me options. We always have freedom of choice. At least I know that if I want to go this way, I know what I can do to achieve better health outcomes for myself. And it's natural. All I did was put on my boots because sometimes there was snow on the ground. I didn't have to have special running shoes, just where you can walk comfortably. Another great natural alternative. A healthier option we have, in my Facebook Live, someone asked me whether I peeled the ginger and turmeric before making the tea, and my answer was no. I thought that was a great question. Another thing my dad taught me was a lot of times the nutrients of the food are in the outside, in the skin. So sometimes we'll peel potatoes, we'll peel the cucumber, take the skin off the beans or what have you, but that takes out a lot of the nutrients. And then we feed that stuff to, if you were in a rural environment, like the chickens. So they get all the nutrients and we are left with the carbohydrates on the inside. So we love French fries, fast food type French fries that are usually prepared in deep fryer and lots of salt. But what my 11-year-old started doing about a week ago, which I'm very grateful for. Oh, by the way, I did give a shout out to the Lynch family. I don't know. I just want to say thank you because their church consistently gives out fresh produce and they consistently remember us and always bring an extra box over for us, and the produce is fabulous. So these potatoes are from that, and I just want to say thank you. If by chance you ever get a hold of this video, I want to say we do appreciate it. I always tell you, but I want to also say it again, we appreciate you. But my 11-year-old dug out the this ring light French fry cutter from our cabinets, and what he did was, slice the potato in half, push it through the steak fry. There are different sizes. The steak fry cutter, and toss the fries in oil, put them on a tray, and popped it in the oven. Gave it like 40-45 minutes. The first time he made them like the shoestring skinny size, and they got extra crispy and they just tasted bitter and burnt. But he went back and used the steak fry size. They came out delicious. Added a little bit of salt, left the skin on, and the boys were literally fighting over the French fries. I'd hear like do all through that house. I'm like, what is going on? Big brother is chasing little brother to get a hold of the French fries, and little brother's trying to. They're all going to share eventually, but they like high drama for whatever reason. But keep the skin on, or keeping the skin on is something that we do wherever possible because nutrients are there. The last legacy that my dad left with us was a wonderful library of books. This one is called Foods That Heal. I have it for my kids to look through. It's very colorful. It has all the different, many of the different type foods that are available in the area we live in, and tells some of the health benefits of those foods. So just keeping a library of this around is wonderful. There's a Nigerian proverb that says, when an elder dies, it's as if a library has been burnt down, because they take a wealth of information with them to the grave. And one thing I'm so grateful for, my dad has passed away. It's about 21 years now, but he left a wonderful library and legacy of reading with us. So whatever we didn't pick up, he developed a culture of natural remedies, and he left a wonderful library of books. What was not in the library, we can now supplement and purchase and things like that. But have these around for your kids. One, they will look through it. They'll at least look through it and again have that information. And two, as they grow, again, they just know that, wait a minute, I remember that ginger was good for such and such. Let me go back. There was a book. At the very least, they'll Google it and get that information. So those are just a few of the homeschool holistic health remedies passed down from my dad to me. I'm passing down from me to my kids, and we're here sharing with you. I felt it was important to re-record this because it's not about me. Believe me, I didn't spaz out because the sound quality was not good. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed. No, I'm kind of beyond that now. I feel I've been called to just share some of what's been helping me in my life, whether it's homeschooling or these health remedies, because again, your health is your wealth. An ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. And some of the joys and benefits that we've been experiencing, we just want to share with you. Perhaps they might benefit you as well. So that's it for now. Hope you had a good time and some good information. If you have a favorite natural remedy that works for you, that was passed down from generation to generation in your family, please put them in the comments below so that we can all share. Again, I'm looking to promote community, conversation, and discussion. I won't do that on the Facebook Lives until I get better sound equipment. So for now, put your comments in YouTube. I will respond. Hopefully we'll all be able to share and benefit. And until next time, thank you for joining.